There are certain players in this league you just never expect to actually become available. The quiet superstars, the franchise faces, the guys whose names feel permanently attached to one city, and every so often, a strange set of circumstances lines up and one of those untouchable names starts to wobble loose. Tonight on the show, Shams Charania said something that made me sit straight up because he was talking about exactly that kind of player, one of the most dominant and mysterious superstars of his entire generation, and he connected him to the Los Angeles Lakers. So stay with me, Lakers fans, because this isn't a fantasy. This is a real, reported, fascinating situation, and it could change the entire trajectory of the Luca Doncic era. Here's what Shams said, cutting right through the noise. According to sources, the Los Angeles Lakers have shown real interest in a potential trade for Clippers forward Kawhi Leonard, the two-time Finals MVP, one of the best two-way players of his era, potentially becoming available and potentially staying right in Los Angeles to give Luca Doncic the perfect superstar partner, Kawhi Leonard, crossing the hallway at the same arena to join the Lakers. Read that again, because if you understand the bizarre situation unfolding with the Clippers right now, and you understand exactly what Luca Doncic needs around him, you understand why this could be the most stunning and most perfect move of the entire offseason. And I'm here to walk you through how a player this good could possibly come loose, because the story is genuinely wild. Now, I already know some of you are going to bring up his health and his age, and we are absolutely going to get to all of it, I promise, because I always give you the honest version. But stay with me, because the fit here is the kind of thing that wins championships. Let me start with how Kawhi Leonard could even become available, because this is the part that makes it so fascinating. For years, Kawhi has been the face of the Clippers, the cornerstone they built everything around. But this past season, the Clippers quietly began to change course. At the trade deadline, they moved on from key veterans, shipping out their longtime center and their starting point guard, signaling to the entire league that they were pivoting toward a younger, future-focused rebuild. And here's where it gets interesting for Kawhi. He's entering the final year of his contract, and he's eligible for an extension this summer. But multiple reports indicate that for the Clippers to extend him, they'd want him to take a significant pay cut, given where they are in their rebuild. And insiders have made it crystal clear, if an extension can't be worked out, the Clippers are expected to explore the trade market rather than risk losing him for nothing. So you've got a rebuilding team, a complicated contract negotiation, and a superstar in the final year of his deal. That combination is exactly how an untouchable player starts to become available. Now, I have to be honest about the other side, because it's real. The Clippers owner has reportedly maintained a firm stance against trading Kawhi, and Kawhi himself reportedly wants to stay in Los Angeles. So this is not a done deal. But here's the beautiful part for the Lakers, and it's almost poetic. Kawhi wants to stay in Los Angeles. Well, the Lakers are in Los Angeles. They play in the very same building as the Clippers, so if the Clippers rebuild forces a split, the one team that could keep Kawhi exactly where he wants to be, in LA, in the same arena, without uprooting his life at all, is the Lakers. That's a powerful, unique angle that no other suitor on earth can offer. So now let me tell you exactly who Kawhi Leonard is, in case anyone has somehow forgotten, because this is the part that should get you out of your seat. Kawhi Leonard is one of the greatest two-way players of his generation, full stop. He's a 6-time All-Star, a 2-time NBA champion, and a 2-time Finals MVP. A man who has been the best player on a title team not once, but twice. He's one of the most lethal and efficient scorers in the sport, a deadly mid-range assassin, a knockdown shooter, and a relentless closer who can get a great shot whenever he wants one. And on the other end, he's one of the most feared perimeter defenders the league has ever seen, a man who can erase the opponent's best wing. And here's the part that makes this so tantalizing. He's not a faded version of himself. This past season at 34, he had one of the best individual years of his entire career, averaging nearly 28 points a game on absurd top-of-the-league efficiency and earning all NBA honors. When healthy, Kawhi Leonard is still, right now, one of the very best players alive. So now let's talk about why this fits Luca Doncic so perfectly, because it solves the Lakers' two biggest needs in a single player. But first, let me give you the full picture of just how special this player has been, because it's the key to understanding the magnitude of this. Kawhi Leonard is not just a star, he's one of the great winners of the modern era. Go back to the beginning. He won a championship as a young player by locking down one of the greatest scorers of all time in the finals, earning finals MVP before most people even knew his name. Then he did the near impossible. He forced his way to a new team and immediately delivered them the first championship in their history, winning his second finals MVP in a completely different conference. 2 titles, 2 finals MVPs, with 2 different franchises. That is a level of proven, portable championship greatness that almost no player in history can claim, and along the way, he built a reputation as maybe the most ruthless playoff performer of his generation, a man who raises his game when the lights are brightest, who has hit some of the most iconic shots in postseason history. That kind of killer instinct in the biggest moments cannot be taught, cannot be faked, and cannot be found on the open market. The fact that a player with that exact resume might come available at all is the whole reason this is such a massive story, especially for a Lakers team that lives and breathes championships. Here's the thing about building around Luca. He is one of the greatest offensive engines the game has ever seen, but he has 2 clear needs around him. First, he needs elite perimeter defense because Luca can be targeted on that end, and you have to surround him with guys who can take the toughest defensive assignments off his plate. Second, he needs a secondary shot creator, a co-star who can generate his own offense and carry the scoring load when Luca rests or when a playoff defense keys on him. And here's why Kawhi is so perfect. He is elite at both of those things at the same time. He's one of the best perimeter defenders alive, so he covers Luca's biggest weakness, and he's a self-sufficient MVP level scorer, so he's the ideal second option who doesn't need the ball constantly, but can take over when needed. You're not just adding a star next to Luca, you're adding the exact star whose strengths plug directly into Luca's exact weaknesses. Imagine a Lakers team with Luca orchestrating the offense and Kawhi locking down the other team's best player and getting buckets in the clutch. That's not just good, that's a genuine championship core. So now let's talk about how this would actually work, because the money is the key. Kawhi is owed a massive salary north of $50 million next season. To trade for him, the Lakers would have to match that, likely building a package around significant outgoing salary and draft assets. It would be a major, complicated, franchise-altering trade, no question, but the Lakers have always been a franchise willing to make the bold, blockbuster move when a player of this caliber is on the table, and pairing a second superstar with Luca in his prime is exactly the kind of swing they exist to make. The money makes it hard, but the prize makes it worth it. And let me paint the on-court picture a little more, because the ceiling here is genuinely special. Think about what a playoff series looks like with this Lakers team. Luka Doncic is going to get his no matter what the defense does, because he's one of the most unstoppable offensive engines alive. But playoff basketball is about what happens when the defense takes away your first option. That's where Kawhi changes everything. When a defense loads up on Luka, Kawhi is the guy who punishes them, a self-creating MVP level scorer who doesn't need plays drawn up for him. And when the Lakers need a stop in the closing minutes, Kawhi takes the other team's best scorer and erases him, which is the single hardest thing to find in this league. So you'd have one superstar who guarantees elite offense and another who guarantees you a bucket and a stop when the game is on the line. That's a championship formula, the kind of 2-star combination that has won title after title in the modern NBA. And because Kawhi doesn't need the ball constantly, he and Luca wouldn't step on each other's toes. They'd complement each other almost perfectly, one creating, the other finishing and defending. That balance is exactly what separates a fun regular season team from a real title contender. But I told you I'd be honest with you, so let's take the doubts head on, because on this one they are very real. The first and biggest objection is the health. There's no way around it. Kawhi Leonard has a long, well-documented history of injuries, and he has rarely played a full season. That's a legitimate, serious concern, and I won't pretend it isn't. But here's the counter. He just played 65 games last season, a strong number for him, and he produced at an MVP level when on the floor. The Lakers wouldn't need 82 games from him. They'd need him healthy and fresh for the playoffs, and a managed regular season workload is exactly how you get there. It's a real gamble, but the reward, a top 5 when healthy player next to Luca, is enormous. The second objection is the age. He turns 35 this summer. Fair, but he's coming off the most efficient scoring season of his career, so there's no sign of decline in his actual game. His skills, the mid-range mastery, the defense, the shot making are the kind that age gracefully. This isn't a player who relies on explosive athleticism anymore. It's a player who relies on skill, strength, and IQ, and those last. The third objection is the cost and the contract. He's expensive and he's on an expiring deal, so there's risk he could leave after a year. But the Lakers would be all in on the Luca window, and for a healthy Kawhi Leonard, even for a year or two, that's a price worth paying for a team trying to win a title right now. And remember, his stated desire to stay in LA gives the Lakers a real shot at keeping him long term. You don't pass on a perfect fit because of the calendar, and let me put this in the context of what the Lakers are really chasing, because it raises the stakes. This is a franchise that does not measure success in playoff appearances or fun regular seasons. It measures success in banners. When you acquire a generational offensive talent like Luca Doncic in his prime, you have a sacred obligation to maximize that window to put a genuine championship roster around him while he's at his peak. And the Western Conference is a brutal gauntlet, loaded with elite teams and elite wings, the kind of conference where you simply cannot survive 4 rounds with 1 star and a supporting cast. You need a second guy who can take over a playoff game, and you need defenders who can match up with the killers out west. Kawhi Leonard, when healthy, is both of those things wrapped into one player. Passing on a chance to pair a 2-time Finals MVP with Luca when he might come available right across the hall would be the kind of missed opportunity a franchise regrets for a decade. For a team with the Lakers standards and the Lakers history, this is exactly the swing you're supposed to take. So let me tell you where my head is at, and then I've got one final thought that I think is the real key to all of this. If the Lakers pull this off, they give Luca Doncic a co-star whose strengths fill Luca's exact weaknesses, elite perimeter defense and self-sufficient scoring, and they do it by pouncing on a bizarre, once-in-a-blue-moon situation happening right across the hall. Picture it, Luca running the offense, Kawhi locking down the other team's best wing, and delivering buckets in the half court when it matters most. Whether it works comes down to health, and that's the real debate. But the fit is just about perfect. The ceiling is a championship, and the Lakers have never been shy about chasing exactly this kind of star power. And here's the thought I want to leave you with. The part almost nobody is connecting. The rarest opportunity in basketball is the chance to add a true two-way superstar whose game perfectly complements the franchise player you're already building around. Those players almost never become available because the teams that have them never let them go. But every so often, a strange alignment of circumstances, a rebuild, a contract impasse, a franchise changing direction, cracks open a door that should never be open. That is exactly what's happening across the hall in Los Angeles right now with Kawhi Leonard. And the Lakers, with a superstar who needs precisely what Kawhi provides, and the unique ability to keep him in the city he reportedly wants to stay in, are perhaps the most logical destination of all. When a player this good might come loose, and he fits your superstar this perfectly, you make the call, and the opportunity is sitting right there. So let me boil it all the way down for you, because I want this crystal clear. A generational offensive engine in Luca who needs exactly 2 things, elite perimeter defense and a self-sufficient second scorer. A 2-time Finals MVP who provides both at an elite level in the same player at the same time. A unique LA angle that lets the Lakers keep him in the city he reportedly wants to stay in. And a once-in-a-blue-moon situation across the hall that might shake him loose. The health and the cost are real gambles, but the fit with Luca is about as perfect as anything you'll ever find, and the ceiling is a championship. When a player this good fits your superstar this cleanly, and might actually be available, the Lakers, of all franchises, have to be in that conversation. I'm not telling you it's signed. I have no reporting that says the ink is dry, and I am never going to make something up for you, because the only reason you keep coming back to me is that I shoot you straight, even when the honest version includes very real concerns about his health, his age, and a complicated, expensive trade. Those concerns are real, and the Clippers owner reportedly doesn't even want to trade him. It may not happen. But I am telling you, the talent is real. The fit with Luca is just about perfect. The LA angle is unique, and a 2-time Finals MVP is the rarest kind of prize. And tonight, Shams Charania put the Lakers right into that conversation on national television. You stack all of that up, the fit and the championship ceiling and the poetic LA twist, and you can feel it, can't you? This one would just make sense. So here's what I need from you. Keep your phone close over the next few weeks, because once those Clippers extension talks reach a breaking point, a situation like this can flip in a single day. Remember where you were when you heard this, because if it happens, you'll want to remember the night the Lakers gave Luca his perfect co-star without him ever leaving the building. And tell me down below, do you do it? If you're the Lakers, do you make the blockbuster and pair a healthy Kawhi Leonard with Luca for a title run? Or do you decide the injury risk and the steep cost are simply too scary and look for a safer, more reliable fit next to Luca? I really want to hear it because this is the kind of franchise-defining all-or-nothing swing that separates the teams chasing banners from the ones just hoping to make noise. Because somewhere in Los Angeles tonight, a front office building around Luka Doncic is staring at a superstar who might just come loose right across the hall. And somewhere in that same building, a rebuilding team is deciding whether the player it swears it won't trade is truly untouchable after all. I'll be watching every single second of this one as it unfolds. And the moment anything moves, you already know I'll be right back here to break it all down for you, every single detail of it. Stay close. Sometimes the rarest superstar in the entire league comes loose in the strangest way imaginable, and the smart teams are the ones already circling the instant he does.